What happens when two of the most dangerous personalities in human behavior collide? It is not a love story. It is not a tale of partnership. It is a warning. A sociopath and a narcissist meeting is not simply two people with flaws crossing paths. It is the convergence of two forces, both hungry for control, both skilled at manipulation, both blind to empathy. And when they enter the same space, it is not harmony that follows, but a psychological chess match where the board is made of human hearts. And the pieces are trust, loyalty, and sanity. Think about this. We all want connection, but some people do not come into our lives to connect. They come to consume. The narcissist walks in craving admiration, desperate to have their reflection confirmed by anyone willing to play along. The sociopath enters with no care for admiration, no concern for belonging, but with a thrill for chaos and the pleasure of bending others to their will. One lives for the praise of the crowd. The other lives for the thrill of the game. Together, they create a storm that is as fascinating as it is destructive. You might imagine at first they would admire each other. The narcissist dazzled by the sociopath's confidence, the sociopath intrigued by the narcissist's charisma. But beneath the surface lies a battle for dominance. Each sees the other not as a partner, but as a tool to be used, a threat to be neutralized, a puzzle to be solved. And the more they engage, the darker the game becomes. This is not a story about villains in a book. This is a story about real people in real lives, because chances are you have crossed paths with a narcissist or a sociopath without even realizing it. And maybe you wondered why you left conversation drained, confused, or questioning your own reality. The reason is simple. You were never playing a fair game. You were standing on a board designed for you to lose. So the question is not only what happens when a sociopath meets a narcissist. The question is, how do we recognize the patterns before we get pulled into their storm? And more importantly, how do we protect the one thing they both seek to control: our mind and our peace? To understand why the meeting of a sociopath and a narcissist becomes so dangerous, we first need to see the narcissist for who they really are. On the surface, the narcissist is magnetic. They walk into a room and you notice them immediately. They speak with confidence, they stand tall, and they seem to know exactly who they are. But look closer and you will see the cracks behind the mask. A narcissist does not just want admiration, they need it. It is the oxygen they breathe. Without it, their entire sense of self begins to collapse. At the heart of narcissism is a fragile self-worth. The narcissist may project certainty, but deep inside they are vulnerable to even the smallest criticism. A single remark can bruise their ego. A minor setback can send them spiraling. They are experts at denial, experts at shifting blame, experts at building walls around their insecurities. But those walls are not made of stone, they are made of glass. Always one strike away from shattering. Narcissism shows itself in different ways. Some are overt, the kind you can spot from a mile away. They are bold, loud, and constantly chasing the spotlight. They boast about their achievements. They demand attention. They make sure you never forget how important they are. Others are covert, quieter, more subtle. They play the victim. They fish for compliments with false humility. They hide their hunger for validation behind carefully crafted modesty. But whether overt or covert, the core remains the same: an unending thirst to be seen, admired, and affirmed. The danger of narcissism is not only what it does to the narcissist, but what it does to those around them. Because in their world, you are not fully you. You are a reflection, a mirror held up to confirm their greatness. You are valued not for who you are, but for how well you support their image. They struggle to recognize your needs, your feelings, your desires, because empathy is not in their toolkit. What looks like connection is often performance. What sounds like care is often strategy. When confronted with their flaws, they do not grow, they defend, they throw tantrums, they sulk, they withdraw, or they lash out. The goal is always the same: protect the image at any cost. They may avoid accountability through charm. They may silence opposition with anger. They may retreat into self-pity until you rush to reassure them. And in every case, they remain in control because they have trained you to protect their fragile self The truth is, being in a relationship with a narcissist, whether as a partner, a colleague, or even a family member, can feel like walking on glass. You measure your words carefully, you anticipate their reactions, you work tirelessly to keep the peace. All the while, you are slowly losing your own sense of worth because the relationship is never really about you. It is about them and their reflection. This is why when a narcissist meets a sociopath, the stage is set for chaos. Because the narcissist believes they are strong enough to hold control, but their need for validation is the very weakness the sociopath will exploit. Understanding this fragility is the first step to seeing why their collision is so destructive. If a narcissist is defined by their desperate need to be admired, a sociopath is defined by their lack of need for anyone at all. They do not seek your approval. They do not crave your admiration. They do not fear your rejection. They operate in a world where empathy is absent and rules are only obstacles to be maneuvered. Their lives are not built on long-term goals or deep relationships, but on the thrill of the moment, the rush of getting what they want without caring who gets is hurt. At first, a sociopath can appear charming, even magnetic. They know how to read a room. They know how to say exactly what you want to hear, but make no mistake, their charm is not connection. It is strategy. They will smile at you while calculating how to use you. They will listen just long enough to gather information they can later turn against you. They can feign interest, but it is never real interest. It is simply a tool to get closer to their goal. Unlike the narcissist who manipulates to protect their fragile image, the sociopath manipulates for the sheer enjoyment of control. They thrive on chaos. They thrive on seeing how far they can push boundaries. They do not care if you admire them or despise them as long as they get what they want. They will exploit kindness without guilt. They will betray trust without hesitation, and they will walk away from destruction without looking back. Their recklessness is often hidden behind confidence, but that confidence is dangerous because it makes them fearless of consequences. They gamble with relationships, careers, reputations, even lives, because to them, life is not about connection or legacy. It is about the next thrill, the next win, the next conquest. And in their wake, they leave broken trust, fractured hearts, and people who wonder how they ever got pulled in. The sociopath is not concerned with appearances the way a narcissist is. They are not trying to be adored. They are trying to dominate. And because of this, they rarely bother to hide their disregard for others. They might laugh at pain. They might dismiss suffering. They might even create chaos just to feel alive. For them, life is a game, and every person they meet is a piece to be moved or removed. The tragedy is that most people do not see the sociopath coming, because they can mimic normalcy just long enough to gain access. Once inside your world, they dismantle it piece by piece. They test your boundaries. They break your trust. They take your peace. And when they are done, they do not apologize. They simply move on to the next target, leaving you to pick up the pieces. This is why when a sociopath meets a narcissist, the collision is so volatile. The narcissist wants to be admired. The sociopath wants to win. The narcissist plays for image. The sociopath plays for control. Together, they create a storm where no one walks away unharmed. When a sociopath meets a narcissist, it is never a gentle encounter. It is the beginning of a storm that at first glance might look like fascination, but underneath is a power struggle that few could survive. On the surface, they are drawn to each other. The narcissist sees the sociopath as a powerful figure, someone whose confidence can magnify their own sense of importance. The sociopath sees the narcissist as an easy mark, someone whose desperate need for admiration can be twisted into a tool for control. They meet like two predators circling the same territory, intrigued by the strength they see, but already plotting how to gain the upper hand. In the early stages, it can feel like a partnership. The narcissist is dazzled by the sociopath's boldness, and the sociopath is entertained by the narcissist's charm. Together, they create a scene of energy and intensity that draws others in. People around them might even admire what looks like connection, but it is not connection, it is calculation. Both are watching closely, both are testing boundaries, both are quietly asking themselves, not how can I build with this person, but how can I win? For the narcissist, the game is about feeding their ego, the compliments, the attention, the sense that they are special. The sociopath understands this and uses it like a lever. They offer flattery when it serves their purpose. They play into the narcissist's fantasies. They appear to admire them all while making subtle moves to undermine their confidence. The sociopath knows that the narcissist's greatest strength and appearance is also their greatest weakness. In truth, their fragile need for validation. For the sociopath, the game is about control. They are not interested in whether the narcissist shines. They are interested in how much power they can hold over them. They may act like an ally. They may play the role of supporter, but beneath it, they are setting traps. They know exactly when to pull back their praise to send the narcissist spiraling. They know when to deliver sharp criticism to remind the narcissist who is really in charge. The narcissist cannot resist chasing that validation back, and in doing so becomes more deeply entangled. What begins as intrigue quickly shifts into tension. The narcissist starts to sense the sociopath is not as supportive as they seem. The sociopath grows bored of pretending to admire someone they secretly see as weak beneath the surface. Suspicion grows. They test each other with sharper words, with colder silences, with hidden moves, each trying to prove they are the one in control, each unwilling to admit the other has power. This cycle breeds paranoia. The narcissist wonders if the sociopath is mocking them behind their back. The sociopath wonders how much more they can exploit before the narcissist catches on. Trust is impossible because both are skilled. Deception. Loyalty is impossible because both are driven by self-interest. What remains is a toxic loop of manipulation, betrayal, and resentment. And yet the sociopath often has the final advantage because while the narcissist is playing to protect an image, the sociopath is playing with nothing to lose. The narcissist needs admiration to survive, but the sociopath does not need admiration at all. They only need the thrill of control. The narcissist will bend over backwards to win back approval, while the sociopath will gladly crush that desire if it serves their purpose. In the end, the narcissist becomes dependent on the very person dismantling their confidence. Picture it like a high-stakes game of chess. The narcissist believes their queen is the most powerful piece and they move her with grandeur. The sociopath knows the game is not about show but about traps and strategy. So while the narcissist is busy impressing the crowd, the sociopath quietly sets the board until at last the narcissist looks up to see that their king is cornered and the game is already over. This is why the meeting of a sociopath and a narcissist is not a love story. It is not even a partnership. It is a slow descent into a battle where both believe they are winning until one is destroyed. And more often than not, it is the narcissist who crumbles under the weight of their own need to be admired, because the sociopath has no interest in applause, only in victory. And in that pursuit, they will not hesitate to break the very person who thought they were untouchable. The most important lesson we can draw from the meeting of a sociopath and a narcissist is that understanding their patterns is the first step to protecting yourself. These personalities thrive not because they are invincible, but because most people never realize what they are up against. The danger is not only in their direct relationship with each other, but in how they affect everyone around them. You may not be the sociopath or the narcissist, but you could easily be caught in their storm. Their charm can pull you in, their confidence can blind you, and their manipulation can convince you that you are safe when in reality you are being used. This is why recognition matters. Knowing the signs gives you the power to set boundaries before you are too deeply entangled. The signs are clear when you know what to look for. The narcissist will constantly seek validation. They will downplay your needs while exaggerating their own. They will appear charming, but their interest in you is conditional on how much you feed their ego. The sociopath will show confidence without care for others. They may charm you for a moment, but they will quickly reveal a disregard for consequences and a willingness to exploit anyone who gives them the chance. The relationship between the two reveals something deeper about human behavior. Both personalities show us what happens when empathy is absent. Narcissists see people as mirrors. Sociopaths see people as pawns. Neither sees people as people. And when you find yourself in their orbit, the danger is that you begin to forget your own worth. You start to believe their version of reality, and slowly you lose yourself. Protecting yourself begins with boundaries. Boundaries are not walls. They are clarity about what you will and will not allow. You cannot control a narcissist's hunger for admiration or a sociopath's thirst for control, but you can control how much access they have to you. Boundaries are how you reclaim your peace. They are how you refuse to play their game. It also requires courage to speak up when something feels wrong, courage to trust your instincts, courage to walk away even when you are told you are overreacting or being dramatic, and perhaps most importantly, courage to believe that you are enough. Because the greatest weapon both the narcissist and the sociopath use is the lie that you must prove your worth. The truth is, you do not owe anyone proof of your value. You are worthy without their approval. Finally, seek support. No one should face manipulation alone. Trusted friends, mentors, or professionals can help you see clearly what your emotions may cloud. Isolation is the soil where manipulation grows. Connection is the light that reveals the truth. The lesson is clear. Recognize the signs, set boundaries, believe in your worth, and never forget that your peace is worth more than their control. The collision of a sociopath and a narcissist is not partnership, but psychological warfare. The narcissist craves admiration while the sociopath thrives on control. Together, they create a cycle of manipulation, suspicion, and betrayal. To protect yourself, you must recognize the signs, set firm boundaries, trust your instincts, and believe that you are enough. These personalities win when you doubt your worth, but they lose when you stand firm in your value and refuse to play their game. Ultimately, your peace is the one thing they cannot steal unless you give it away.